The following program was brought to you by CDEC, the California Inland Empire District Export Council, working with local, state, and federal organizations to provide resources and educational opportunities to help facilitate trade. And by the U.S. Commercial Service, a division of the U.S. Department of Commerce's International Trade Administration, whose mission is to increase U.S. exports, enhance job creation, strengthen national security, promote and protect U.S. commercial interests abroad, and deliver customized solutions to ensure that U.S. businesses compete and win in the global marketplace.
As you well know, Chile is a very open market. It's open, it's very far. We are one of the maybe more distant countries in the world for near everybody. But it doesn't mean that we are isolated. We have more than 14 free trade agreements, more than one free trade agreement, association agreement with the European Union, so it means free trade agreement with 27 countries there. Free trade agreement, of course, with you, with China, and also we are part of those 12 countries which are negotiating the TPP, which is very important for us. Some people, few months ago, I was at a seminar, and one of the panelists say that this kind of policies was a kind of spaghetti bowl, in which at the end, and especially for exporters, was very difficult to manage. And I said, well, it just means that Chilean people, we love pasta and we love spaghetti. And we are ready for another bit of spaghetti in our bowl. And that's why we are in these TPP negotiations. It doesn't mean that we are ready just like it is now. The negotiations are on their way. And we have, of course, there are some differences which we hope that we will reach a common understanding with all our partners. But if you see, we have already free trade agreements with Mexico, United States, and Canada, free trade agreement with China, free trade agreement with the European Union. So we have free trade agreements with most of the big players. So for us, is this agreement, if we reach a common ground, I think will put just maybe some order in all our architecture. So we are looking forward to that, and we hope that we will reach the agreement at the end of this year. Let's see. But we reached these free trade agreements not because of nothing. We had, all of you know our recent history, and we restarted with our democracy in 1990. And since then, we have different governments from different political and philosophies. They have continued the path of opening to the world. And that's very important. It speaks about a country which is stable politically and economically. Of course, because we are open to the world, we are also affected by what happens in the world. And the slowdown of China, it affects us. Not only because it lowers the prices of, in this case, copper, which is still our main export product, but also slow the demand. But also we enjoy the benefits. But for example, like all of you also here, you enjoy the benefit of lower price of oil. And so it's one thing for another. But what is happening also in Europe with the recovery of its economy, it also affects us. And what is the recovery of the United States, the American economy, is also very important for us. Chile and California, in this case, I'm so glad, I'm so honored to be representing my country to the seventh economy of the world economy. I mean, just the other day I was talking with a colleague of gossiping, with a colleague of mine at the ministry, and we were talking about some appointments of ambassadors in some other, some more countries. I said, well, forget that. Think about California. We are talking about the seventh economy of the world, and we have to take care of that. We have we must have California in our minds, in the mind of our entrepreneurs, in the mind of our investors. But also, you must have Chile and Latin American countries in your mind, and especially South America. And here, I would like to refer to an alliance which maybe is not a very well-known alliance of countries, but it's the Pacific Alliance, which just 4 countries, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Chile. They are the 4 most dynamic economies in Latin America. They represent more than 50% of the GDP of Latin America. They go in order to the absolutely opening of borders to not only to people, but for goods. And those are countries, with the only exception of Colombia, which are also being part of the TPP. So I'm inviting you to look to those countries, to see how it's possible for you to go there, to invest there, to trade with them. I would love, if in the near future, to have the opportunity to share a panel with the other consuls general, or hopefully with ambassadors accredited to Washington, to be here in order to share their views about the Pacific Alliance. It's important. In other seminar, we were talking about this relationship of the Pacific, and at the end, I complained. When we are talking about the Pacific, or relationship of the Pacific partners, we are talking in general about China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, maybe Canada, but nobody mentioned Latin America. Nobody mentioned not even Mexico in that context. And I think that that is something that we have to change. That's why also I reiterated my invitation to you to think about South America in your business. Chile is in the moment of reforms. All our policies, economic, political, and social economies, they have been very successful. But because just like everybody grows and have the different needs, and you need to adjust. And so that's why now the government, and today President Bachelet reiterated her plan of reforms to the Congress in order to make Chile more dynamic, a more open country. But also we have to be clear that we need to adapt our tax systems in order to get some resources for our education system. Tax system, it doesn't mean to make taxes much higher. It just is the way to administrate the taxes. It's just the way to apply the taxes to companies, but always with the full respect of the rule of law. Everybody will apply to everybody, and very predictable, and there will be no surprises. We don't like surprises. We are a rather conservative country, and we don't like surprises. Maybe a birthday party, maybe that could be a surprise, but that's enough, not more for us. And so those reforms are mainly focused in order to get more resources for education, and to make education at all levels free for everybody. We want our people, our young people, and I'm so glad that here are a bunch of young people participating in this conference. That's very important. That's really important to have this day will be, we all of us know, this is not novelty, the people, the grown-up people of the future, not on the far future. So what we are asking today in the Congress, what she was asking, is the support for these reforms. The tax reform is already there, is done, and was approved by everybody. It was a long negotiations, but it was approved for different parties from the right to center and left. So that means something. It means that the reform was a need and was approved by everybody. And because also the goal was important. The goal was important, was education. Few moments, I know that you are here. You told me beforehand. And and that was for education. Few years ago, the former Prime Minister of the UK, Mr. Tony Blair, asked in a convention of the Labour Party, he said, ask me which are the three main priorities for my government, and he answered himself, education, education, education. And that is one of the same, some are the same priorities for our government. And all the reforms, but as I say, all the reforms in order to get those a better education for our people is going with the full respect, with the open country to the foreign markets, and also attract to foreign investors. Those we know very well, we cannot do it without it. So we need it, and I also called you to think about Chile when you think about investing abroad. Last week, also, I have to tell you, I had the surprise, it was a surprise for me, I didn't know that, I confess. I received a young guy in my office, just wanted to talk to him. And he said, no, I'm now managing a company in Colorado. This is a Chilean investment for $600 million. In Colorado was about mining, and that was a big surprise for me. I think that was maybe one of the biggest Chilean investment in the United States. Of course, the American investments in Chile are much more. But this is both ways. And I will go now, but not before inviting you to visit Chile, because I was saying before, one of my duties is to make Chile a better known country here in California, in the south of California. But also is to put California on the map in Chile. But that's not possible if you don't go there.
Jorge, you don't get to leave yet. I'd like to open this up for 5 minutes of questions and answers with our Chilean investors. Questions?
Mr. Consul General, could you kind of outline some of the technology needs, high technology needs that American business could supply to Chile?
Well, thank you. That's a very good question. I don't know if I will be able to answer that in detail. But let me say that we are open and we need new technology. Technology is the future for everybody. We need to keep at pace with what is happening in the world. And that's why the government, since 2010, we opened a program, Startup Chile, which means it's the support of the government for first-time entrepreneurs who start with their small companies. And we give the financial support, we give a special visa for them, and I have been here for 6 months, I will say at least 10 people, American people, going there, establishing their companies in technology. And not only in technology, but also biotechnology, all kind of that, establishing their companies in Chile. And I think that's, for us, this is very important. We want to attract people. Thank you.